BEIN TV, connected to your world.
And this is BEIN News Updates. We bring you all the news stories making headlines during the week, broadcasting from Benab House, Atomic Junction, Medina. My name is Khadija Kubra Keilani. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube at BEIN TV. With all the news stories making headlines during the week, some of the major top stories include fuel prices likely to drop in February 2nd pricing window according to the IES, and new ministers to be vetted on February 20th. This was announced by Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin, and Finance Ministry confirms over 80% participation in DDEP. This and many other stories in details in a moment. Thank you for staying with us. Now the stories in details. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has announced a reconstitution of the National Hajj Board. The new board will have former MP for Offenso South, Alhaji Ben Abdallah Banda, as chairman and deputy majority chief whip, and Tolon MP Habib Idrisu as a member.
The rest of the members are Hajia Safia Muhammad, Chief Sadiq Jimala III, Sheikh Amin Bonsu, Alhaji Inusa Amadu, Usman Yunusa, Muhammad Ibrahim Muhammad, Saidu Zakaria, Abdul Rahman Al-Hassan Gomda, Alhaji Musa Akambonga, and Hajia Azara Harun. The president has also appointed Alhaji Farouk Hamza as the new executive secretary of the Hajj Board Secretariat, with Alhaji Ajay as a member of the Secretariat, as well as Ahmed Abu and Ahmed Tijani. Alhaji Ben Abdallah Banda takes over from the former Member of Parliament for Ayawasu Central Constituency, Sheikh Isikwe, who was made chairman of the Hajj Board in 2017. Last month, the Deputy Saudi Minister of Hajj and Umrah, Dr. Abdul Fattah Suleiman, signed a number of bilateral agreements between Saudi and Ghana. It is aimed at deepening relations between the two countries and enhancing efficiency in the organization of the 2023 Hajj. The protocols include Ghana's allocated quota for Hajj 2023, ports of arrivals and departure, as well as safety and comfort protocols for Ghanaian pilgrims.
Away from that, government has described as illegal the enskinment of a new Boku Naba at Nalirigu. Government in the statement also reiterated that Naba Asigiri Abugarugu Azoka II is the Boku Naba duly gazetted and a member of the National and Upper East Regional House of Chiefs. The security agencies have therefore been directed to arrest and prosecute any other person who holds himself out as Boku Naba.
The Mamprisi function in the protracted Boko conflict was at the palace of the overlord of Mamprugu, Na Bohogu Mahama Abdullahi Shariga II on Wednesday for the enskinment of a new Boko Naba, despite the recognition of Naba Asigri Abugrego Azoka II by the government and the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs as the legitimate ruler of the area. There were reports that efforts by the government to stop the supposed enskinment from happening failed. In a statement issued by the Ministry of Information, the government says it condemns development in Narelugu on February 15, 2023, concerning the purported enskinment of a new Boko Naba as illegal and a threat to national security. Government also reiterated that Naba Asigri Abugrago Azoka II is the Boko Naba, duly gazetted and a member of the National and Upper East Regional Houses of Chiefs. The security agencies have therefore been directed to arrest and prosecute any other person who holds himself out as a Boko Naba. The Boko conflict has been raging on for years now, with loss of lives. Until now, the situation has not been amicably resolved and peace maintained.
In politics, the Appointment Committee of Parliament is expected to begin the vetting of ministers and deputy ministers recently nominated by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo from Monday, February 20th, 2023. Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin on Tuesday, February 7, 2023, announced that the President has nominated new ministers and deputies to some ministries.
The Member of Parliament for Adansia Sokwa, Katie Yamond, was nominated to replace Alan Martin as the Minister for Trade and Industry. Member of Parliament for Nshiayeso, Dr. Stephen Amwa, was also announced as Mr. Hammond's deputy. The Member of Parliament for Abetifi, Brian Champon, was also designated for the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Stephen Asamoah Boateng was appointed as the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs after the resignation of Ebenezer Kojokum. In addition, Member of Parliament for Karaga Mohammed Amin Adam, currently the Deputy Minister for Energy, is being moved to serve as Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance. Equiapem South MP Osei Swamwa has also been elevated as Minister of State at the Local Government Ministry.
Still on politics, aspiring new Patriotic Party flag bearer Alan Kojo Martin has said the voting pattern in the voter region will change drastically in favor of the party. If he gets the nod from the delegates at the primaries, he said they enjoyed massive goodwill from the people of the voter region, which he described as his second home, adding that the goodwill would definitely influence the choice of presidents in the 2024 elections.
Alan Martin said history might not be in favor of the MPP with regard to the elections in the voter region, but it had now become clear that Ghana needs a new president, which required the election of a new leader who would leverage on his credibility with the people to lift the country to greater development heights. Mr. Martin said Ghana would definitely rise again under the Great Transformation Agenda GTA, which would involve the judicious and rapid utilization of available resources in the country to create wealth for the nation. He touched on the President's special initiative, PSIs, on cassava, starch, oil palm, garments, textiles, and industrial salt during the President Kufuor era, which he said were his brainchild, and pledged greater commitment of resources to those initiatives to rack in immense fortune for the nation. Mr. Martin said he introduced those PSIs when Ghana was pursuing the heavily indebted poor country initiative, and that bore ample testimony to his status as a man of great vision for his country.
Away from that, the Finance Ministry has confirmed that government secured over 80% participation in the Domestic Debt Exchange Program. In a statement, it said the Government Domestic Debt Exchange Program, DDEP, closed on Friday, February 10, 2023, with over 80% participation of eligible bonds. The government wants to thank the people of Ghana for their forbearance and support throughout these very difficult times.
Participation of all bondholders, saying the support and contributions have got the country much closer to securing the ministry's statement reiterated that, under the circumstances, government always made a humble appeal to bondholders to participate in the DDEP, seeing it as a very critical act of burden sharing in the ongoing national effort to tackle the economic crisis, bring back macroeconomic stability, and guarantee sustainable growth and prosperity for the people of Ghana. The government reassured all individual bondholders who elected not to participate that their coupon payment and maturing principles, like all government bonds, will be honored in line with the government's fiscal commitment. The government, through the Finance Ministry, expressed gratitude for the overwhelming participation of all bondholders, saying the support and contributions have got the country much closer to securing the IMF program.
DEP, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, is calling on government to abort the domestic debt exchange program. NAGRAT President Angel Kabunu urged government to halt the domestic debt exchange program and explore alternative means of solving the country's economic challenges.
Since securing a staff-level agreement with the IMF, the government has been working with stakeholders to get them to subscribe to the debt exchange program. Some group has fiercely kicked against the DDEP, arguing that it will affect their livelihoods. NAGRAT's president, Angel Kabunu, says the DDEP shouldn't have started at all. The government should have looked for other innovative means to make up for its own balances. He says elderly citizens of the country who have sacrificed their lives are amongst those who are picketing at the Ministry of Finance, and therefore call on the government to abort the DDEP altogether. The Finance Minister is scheduled to appear before Parliament on Thursday, February 16, 2023, to brief the House on the DDEP. Former Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo has also joined the pensioners, picketing the Finance Ministry to demand a total exemption of their investment in the controversial domestic debt exchange program. Mrs. Akuffo was seen holding a placard with the inscription, "We depend on our yields to pay our rent, medical bills, electricity bills, and water bills."
And again on DDEP, former Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo says Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has not yet done well managing the Ghanaian economy. She says he has failed to see through the promise by the Akufo-Addo government to protect the public purse when it took office in 2017.
Since securing a staff-level agreement with the IMF, the government has been working with stakeholders to get them to subscribe to the debt exchange program. Some groups have fiercely kicked against the DDEP, arguing that it will affect their livelihoods. NAGRAT President Angel Kabunu says the DDEP shouldn't have started at all. The government should have looked for other innovative means to make up for its own balances. He says elderly citizens of the country who have sacrificed their lives are among those who are picketing at the Ministry of Finance, and therefore called on the government to abort the DDEP altogether. The Finance Minister is scheduled to appear before Parliament on Thursday, February 16, 2023, to brief the House on the DDEP. Former Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo has also joined pensioners picketing the Finance Ministry to demand a total exemption of their investments in the controversial domestic debt exchange program. Ms. Akuffo was seen holding a placard with the inscription, "We depend our bondholders to pay our rent, medical bills, electricity bills, and water bills."
In some business stories, the Institute for Energy Security, IES, is projecting a marginal drop in the prices of fuel for the second pricing window in February. IES projects the price of gas oil to drop by about 4.26% from 15.90 Ghana cedis to about 15.25 Ghana cedis in the second week of the pricing window.
The price of liquefied petroleum gas is also expected to be pegged at 13.51 Ghana cedi per kilogram across the various LPG stations across the country during the pricing window under review. The changes in the price of gas oil, according to the monitoring conducted by IES, are largely as a result of the directives by the National Petroleum Authority for a price adjustment to reflect the government's goal for oil policy. Ghana has recently been hit with high oil prices, which triggered the government to come up with the goal for oil policy aimed at ensuring regular and affordable supply of oil. The international crude oil benchmark Brent fell to about $82.89 per barrel on average terms from a previous average rate of $86.14 per barrel. The first pricing window for February 2023 saw price increases for petroleum products on the domestic market. The first week saw prices increase by some 12.30% and 3.5% for petrol and diesel respectively. The IES monitoring of various oil marketing companies (OMCs) for the pricing window under review saw the price of diesel drop by 4.26% from 15.90 Ghana cedis to about 15.25 Ghana cedis in the second week of the pricing window. The national average price of liquefied petroleum gas (LPG) as monitored on various LPG marketing companies is pegged at 13.51 Ghana cedis per kilogram.
And on the international front, President Ali Bongo has on Monday announced that political terms in office in Gabon will now last 5 years. Until now, President officially served 7 years terms and senators served 6 years terms. But Mr. Bongo, who has led the country since 2009, has not made any statements regarding a new limit on the number of terms a president can serve.
In Gabon, the opening ceremony of the political consultation convened by the country's president, Ali Bongo, to achieve transparent and uncontested political elections ended on February 13, 2023. This ceremony took place at the presidential palace. Almost all the main political leaders of the majority and the opposition were present. The ceremony was short, with only one speech, that of the head of state. It is unclear whether the number of terms will be so limited. Currently, deputies, senators, and even the president of the republic can present themselves as many times as they wish. Ali Bongo is the son of Umar Bongo, who was president of Gabon from 1967 until his death in 2009. During his father's presidency, he was Minister of Foreign Affairs from 1989 to 1991, represented Bongoville as a deputy in the National Assembly from 1991 to 1999, and was Minister of Defense from 1999 to 2009. After his father's death, he won the 2009 Gabonese presidential election. He was re-elected in 2016 in election marred by numerous irregularities, arrests, human rights violations, and post-election protests and violence. Bongo is also president of the Gabonese Democratic Party.
The Tanzanian government has banned from schools several education books on sex education, accused of contravening cultural and moral standards in this Eastern African country where homosexuality is criminalized. Education Minister Adolf Mekanda told reporters on Monday from the capital, Dodoma, that they are banning these books from schools and other educational structures because they are contrary to cultural and moral standards.
Among the books banned is Diary of a Wimp, Greg Heffley's Logbook, a series of American graphic novel that has sold millions of copies worldwide. The government did not specify why it was targeting this diary featuring a teenager, but it's assured that inspections were being conducted in public and private school libraries to ensure that it had been removed. The minister also included in this first list of unacceptable books a textbook on sex education and books mentioning LGBTQIA groups. Last week, the head of state, Samia Suluhu Hassan, called on student leaders to be wary of imported cultures from abroad. She said, "If you are Tanzanian, live according to our culture. In Tanzania, homosexuality is punishable by a minimum sentence of 30 years to life imprisonment."
And this is all we have for you on our news update. For more stories, log on to our website www.beinamultimedia.com. My name is Khadija Tukubra Keilani. Many thanks for doing the watching. Have a good evening.